Are you in charge of your emotions, or are they in charge of you? Today, we're going to dive deep into how you can stop being a puppet to your feelings and finally, start pulling your own strings. I want you to really think about this for a second. From the moment you wake up to the very last thought before you fall asleep, are you the one making all your choices? Or is there something else, something invisible, pulling the strings? Well, the reality is kind of shocking. It turns out that a whopping 90% of us live our lives in what's called reaction mode. We're just constantly responding to things that happen to us instead of, actually deciding what we want to do. Let me put it another way, and this might sound a little harsh, but it's like you're a remote-controlled toy. And yeah, other people have the remote. I mean, if some random person's words can make you furious, or a tiny bit of praise makes you feel on top of the world, then let's be real. You're not in control. They are. So how do we fix this? Here's the game plan. First, we're going to expose how you're being controlled. Then, we'll get into the good stuff, hacking your own mind and your world. And finally, we'll dig into the secrets of the truly powerful. Let's do it. Okay, so Section 1. You are a puppet. We've got to start here with the basic problem. I mean, why is it so incredibly easy to end up being a puppet in someone else's show? This right here, this is a huge piece of the puzzle. The world wants you to be emotional. Why? Because when you're reactive, you're easy to manage. Think about it. If you're scared, someone can intimidate you. If you're head over heels, well, you can be easily fooled. But if you can master your own emotions, you become unpredictable. And that's where true power lies. And that brings us to the very first secret, which is all about identifying your emotional triggers. You've got to know what they are. What specific words just set you off? What situations instantly make you anxious? Because until you know exactly where your buttons are, literally anyone can walk up and push them. All right, so once you know what your triggers are, it's time to disarm them. And that's what this next part is all about, hacking your own mind. This is where we learn the internal techniques to take back control. Okay, this next one is really cool. Secret number 2 is a little mental trick called the third-person glitch. See, the whole reason emotions feel so overwhelming is that we become one with them. We say, I am angry, right? We literally fuse our identity with that feeling. But what if you made a tiny change? Instead of saying, I am getting angry, you say, your name is feeling angry. It sounds small, but it's a huge shift. It creates this little bit of space, this gap. And in that gap, you stop being the victim who's drowning in the emotion, and you become the observer who's just watching it pass by. And you can't control the observer, can you? All right, secret number 3 is what I like to call the biological override. We usually think our brain is the boss, telling our body how to feel, but it's actually more like a two-way street. Your body is constantly sending signals back to your brain. So if you can hack that physical response, you can basically shut down the emotion before it even gets started. And one of the absolute best ways to do this is with a technique called box breathing. Just think about it. When you start to get angry or panic, what's the first thing that happens? Your breathing gets fast and shallow. So by deliberately taking control of that, slowing it right down, you're sending a direct message to your brain that says, hey, false alarm. There's no emergency here. The panic signal just stops. And just like that, you're back in the driver's seat. Okay, so you're starting to get a handle on your inner world. That's huge. But now it's time to build up your defenses. We're moving on to controlling your external world and dealing with all those outside forces trying to mess with you. Secret number 4, hide your vulnerabilities. Now this is important. People who want to manipulate you, they're not looking for your strengths. They're scanning for your soft spots, your weaknesses. This doesn't mean you need to become cold and heartless, not at all. It just means you need to be smart and really, really selective about who you open up to. Your deepest feelings are valuable. They're not for just anyone to see. And that leads us to secret number 5, which is an amazing defense mechanism, especially against toxic people. It's called the gray rock method, and it is a game changer for anyone who has to deal with drama. But first, you gotta know your enemy, right? We're talking about emotional vampires. These are people who literally feed on your emotional reactions. Your anger, your tears, your frustration, that's like a 5-star meal to them. Every time you give them a big reaction, you're just feeding the beast. So, what's the solution? You starve them. You become a gray rock, totally uninteresting, unreactive. When they try to poke you and get a reaction, you give them nothing. A flat voice, zero facial expression, just one-word answers. Okay, I see. You basically become the most boring person in the room. And an emotional vampire isn't going to waste their time on a boring rock. They'll just move on to find an easier target. Okay, we're moving into the deep stuff now. These final secrets go beyond just simple tactics. They're about making a fundamental shift, a whole new way of looking at the world and the people around you. All right, secret number 6. This one can be tough to swallow, but it's crucial. Trust wisely and always expect change. Think about it. Our worst heartbreaks, our biggest betrayals, they almost always come from people we trusted completely. The real mistake isn't that you trusted them, it's that you trusted them blindly. You assumed they would never, ever change. But here's the reality. People do change. Circumstances change. And accepting that doesn't make you cynical. It actually makes you calmer because you're prepared. And that brings us to the final and maybe the most powerful secret of all, the relationship audit. See, most people navigate their relationships based purely on emotion, but powerful people, they look at them strategically. That whole idea of unconditional everything, especially with friends and colleagues, it can be a trap that keeps you stuck. So here's how you put this into practice. You do an audit. You look at every important relationship in your life, not as some fuzzy feeling, but almost like a value exchange. You literally make a list of your inner circle, and you have to be brutally honest with yourself. For each person, you ask, what are they bringing to my life? Is it growth? Is it peace? Or is it just constant stress, drama, and negativity? I love this quote. Kings don't have friends. They have allies. And allies stay together only as long as their mission is the same. It sounds harsh, but it's a powerful way to think. If a relationship is just draining you, if it's holding you back from your mission, you have a choice. You can keep it as is, you can create some distance, or you can cut it off completely. Your loyalty shouldn't feel like a life sentence. So, there you have it. We've gone through some really powerful secrets today, from figuring out your triggers all the way to auditing your entire inner circle. And all of these pieces, they add up to one thing, a total transformation. Because at the end of the day, this is the choice you get to make every single morning. Are you going to be the puppet, reactive, controlled, predictable, and just vulnerable? Or are you going to be the master, proactive, in control, unreadable, and truly powerful? So I'll leave you with this question. Now, who holds your strings? The remote control is right there in front of you. The only real question is, are you going to be the one to pick it up?